Well, hello, I'm Susan Clark, for those of you that don't know me, and this is an introduction to me and to the program and Chapter 1 lecture. I do have some posted on Blackboard, and hopefully you will review all of that. I have the course schedule. I have buku information, probably more than you'll ever need, but I wanted you to have more. So you can be introduced to the paralegal profession and see if this is right for you. Hopefully it is, because you are here. All right. Unfortunately, this is an internet class, and so there are no scheduled live lectures, and so I was going to try to record them as we go. This is my first go at it. First time I put on makeup and gotten dressed, since January of last year. Okay, so to begin, you should have the book, Paralegal Today, 7th edition, and you should have reviewed the course schedule and know that we have 2 assignments due January 21st. All right, classes don't open till the 7th, so that should give you enough time. You'll also see the schedule posted, if I haven't said that before, and more information than you need. But other than being a paralegal, I have posted other things you can do. That's on there. All right. So read through that. And normally you'll learn that only attorneys can practice law, but there is a list of federal agencies posted that allow paralegals to actually come before them in the agency. There's lots of them. All right. So I believe I posted PowerPoints and all kinds of stuff. Also, there's a link. It used to be fill in the form application to join the North Carolina Paralegal Society Association. All right. But you can do that for free as a student now, and you can make contacts. They have networking resources. They also have research resources. So there's a link to do that, and it's free while you're a student. So a lot of people have joined it, and in about 6 weeks after you fill out the link, you get a little welcome mail, not basket, but a little welcome thing with, I've never gotten one. Okay, I guess I want to get started, but I do want to tell you a little bit about me so that you know that I'm not just nuts. I am actually an attorney, and I went to, if you've read my bio, I went to undergraduate school at the University of South Florida in Tampa, Florida, long before any of you were born, hence the makeup. Then I decided I was in pre-med, zoology and psychology, and I didn't really want to go on. My parents wanted me to go to dental school like my brother was going, but I really didn't want to go to dental school. So I took a job as a children's librarian in Annapolis. We lived in Annapolis at the time. And I loved being a librarian. I loved when I got duty in the research room. Before the internet, people used to call the research room to do their homework for them, but now you can just Google it. A couple years at that, I was at the highest pay level I could be with my 2 degrees in zoology and psychology, and my dad, who was a professor at the Naval Academy, was going to law school at night. And he said, you should go to law school. Pick law school and I'll pay. Well, they lived in Annapolis, so I picked Pepperdine University on the other shore in Malibu, California, where I had a wonderful time meeting many stars, many people. James Gardner kissed me right here while he was filming the Rockford Files, so that tells you how long ago I went to law school. Anyways, I graduated law school in 2 years instead of 3. I stayed out there in the summers and took courses so I didn't have to go home. And got married a professional soccer player in the now defunct North American Soccer League program. And he played for the California Surf. He was also in law school. I had one child, Kelly, born in Long Beach Memorial Hospital. And after that, I practiced in a law firm for a short time because my husband got traded to St. Louis, where he was from. So we moved back to St. Louis. And in St. Louis, I was a partner in a 7-person law firm. I was the only female, not many female lawyers back then. And I also taught at the St. Louis University School of Law as an adjunct professor. And then I became an elected official. I ran for and succeeded in becoming a City of Chesterfield councilman, gender neutral. And then after that, I decided I was appointed. I was on that for 4 or 5 years, and I was appointed prosecutor for the city of Chesterfield, where I got to prosecute people, and that was fun. It was only minor misdemeanors and things like that. If it was an assault and the person bled, it went to county because it was a municipality prosecuting attorney, and we had court every Tuesday night. So that was fun. That was when Night Court was on, if you remember that, with Marky Post. But anyways, okay, I'm old. I currently have a family that lives in Texas that I haven't seen since February. My daughter married and moved to Texas, Dallas, and she has 2 sons, which if you were in class, I'd be showing you photos of Caleb, who's 7, and Joshua, who will be 4 next August. And then my son I'll talk about my son someday, but he is a script writer, and his movies were in production when all this stopped. He lives in St. Louis, Missouri, and he married his high school sweetheart, and they have 2 children, August, who will be 4 on January 20th when Biden is inaugurated, and we just had Patrick during the pandemic, October 23rd, and took me a month to get the courage to drive there because I wasn't going to fly. So I met Patrick when he was a month old. And again, I would be showing you photos if we were in class, and you would be going, "Oh my God!" All right. So enough about me. Oh, I am qualified. I'm a member of 3 bars. When we lived in California, I passed the California State Bar, and then when we moved to Missouri, I passed the Missouri State Bar. And then when I came to North Carolina in 2003, I had practiced long enough so I didn't have to take the bar exam again. So I got here by reciprocity. They recognized my bar degrees. And I just had to take the ethics exam again because, I don't know, they just wanted to make sure I was ethical. And I was. So welcome to Introduction to Paralegal Technology. You have 2 assignments in this chapter. One is a note card assignment that I do in the first class, where I actually hand out 3x5 note cards and gather information on my students so I can be able to get in touch with them when I need to. And you can ask me for an appointment via Collaborate at any time if you want to have an in-person private discussion with me, or you can call me on my Google phone where you see that under instructor information. So anyways, you have the first day assignment, student information. What degree are you seeking? What other courses are you taking this semester? Are you currently employed, and where? And do you have law office experience? And what's a real telephone number I can get in touch with you? And then you'll have another assignment, just some review questions in the book, just getting you started. All right, I'm going to start with my lecture. I'm going to push this back so I can refer to my book and page so you can get your book and follow along. We begin in, actually I wanted you to read the skill prep in the textbook on page Roman numeral XXXVI. I guess that's 36, Roman numeral. All right. Um, so I was prepared before I turned on record. What in the world? Okay, I'm getting there. Yeah, there it is. Okay. It's for any college student, but it's also for paralegal students. You have to set the time aside where you can be uninterrupted to do your work. All right. You should mark your text up, but not totally highlight every section. What I do is I read through something first and then go back and decide what was important in that. Test prep. Test prep. You always have to read the instructions before you start a test. And if you don't read the instructions, you're not really want to know what the professor is asking for. Sometimes my test will have a two-part question. I've noticed a lot of people only answer the first part question, so that's 50% wrong right there. All right. Oh, all right. So you go ahead and read skill prep section and figure out what's important to you and what you need to study more or to improve on what type of skills. That's actually a question on one of the assignments. Okay? All right. Chapter 1. Normally I brainstorm and say, what is a paralegal or a legal assistant? Which, by the way, they're interchangeable. They mean the same thing. There were two organizations that thought about one is better than the other. All right? But they mean the same thing. And I brainstorm it and I ask people, but I can't brainstorm and write it on the board here, so I'll just tell you. A paralegal is a person who works for a law office, government entity, court, corporation, a bank, title companies, agencies, public defender's office, DA's office, and any other organization, and here's the key, that does substantive legal work. All right? Substantive legal work. You have to do it under the supervision of a licensed active attorney. The substantive law defines the law. It is the law. The procedural law is the methods used to enforce the substantive law. All right? The substantive laws are the laws. So you have to be able to look up the law, and we'll get into Westlaw, which you have access to if you don't know already, which we will be using in all of our courses. So you're going to have to go to the link I have posted for Westlaw and just play with it. See the video and try to learn it. Normally we would go to the computer room and I would show you how to do it. Not going to happen this year. So you all are smart. You know computers better than I do. So go to Westlaw any opportunity you get and play with it and learn how to use it. The procedural law are the methods used to enforce the substantive laws. They are the rules of civil procedure. They're federal rules of civil procedure and they're state rules of civil procedure. The procedural part is, where do you file a complaint? What form the complaint must be in? How many days do you have to file? Statute of limitations, which you never want to miss a statute of limitation or your attorney has malpracticed. On page 4, it lists some tasks a paralegal can perform, and you can go over those, but what you need to emphasize is what you cannot perform. All right? Paralegals cannot practice law. That's called UPL, the unauthorized practice of law. Only attorneys can practice law, but you can do almost anything an attorney does under the supervision of an attorney. All right? But here are the things to remember that you cannot perform. You cannot represent another in court. You can represent yourself, that's fine, but you cannot represent another in court, with limited exceptions, which some of the agencies allow that. All right? You cannot take a deposition. If you don't know what a deposition is, you will learn it. But briefly, a deposition is when there's a lawsuit been filed and the cases want to depose each other to find out more information that's not on the complaint, to expound on that. The attorneys and their clients come together with a court reporter and they take their deposition. It's a recorded testimony, and it's under oath, and you can use that later in court if the witness on the stand messes up and says something that he said differently at the deposition. But anyways, okay, cannot represent another in court, cannot take a deposition, cannot set fees, all right? And you cannot create the attorney-client relationship. Only the attorney can say how much your case is going to cost, what the fees are for a new client. And you, as a paralegal, if someone calls you on the phone and says, I'm Joe Brown, I need an attorney, will you take the case? Oh, yes, sure, we'll take the case. You can't do that. Only the attorney can create the attorney-client relationship. Okay? And what things you'll be doing will be decided by where you're working. If you're working in a small office, you're going to be doing all kinds of things. If you're working in a larger office, you might be relegated to just doing personal injury or just drafting wills, doing real estate closings. So you'll see. That will vary as to where you go. All right. On page 9, they talk about state certification. All right. And I've got the link for the North Carolina certification in Blackboard. All right. Many states have state certification. North Carolina is one of them, and it's voluntary. No state in the United States requires a paralegal to be certified. All right. Some employers do require it. Here in North Carolina, especially in Wilmington, the city and county will not hire one that has not passed the North Carolina certification exam. Okay. All right. And a certificate that you get, one of the degrees here, certificate is not certification. All right. And to get certified, to be able to take the exam, you have to have the AAS degree. All right. Or if you have a 4-year degree, you only need one of our certificates plus LEX 280, which is ethics, to sit for the North Carolina certification exam. And it's given twice a year. All right. Page 10, we talk about analytical skills. And analytical skills doesn't mean argumentative. It means being able to take a set of facts, determine the applicable law, and apply the facts to the law to come out with the result. All right? It's critical thinking. Communication skills. Paralegals will be interviewing clients, will be interviewing witnesses. All right? So, communication skills include good grammar in emails, address the person you are sending it to like a professional letter. No, hey, exclamation point, and actually no exclamation points. No emojis, no text abbreviation like LOL, by the way, BTO, things like that. Good grammar. All right, and that is on the certification exam. So hopefully you've had English 111 or will. All right, interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills include good listening. Ask questions to follow up, excuse me, on what the client or witness or your attorney or your instructor when you are given an assignment or a task. All right, you have to have good listening skills. Good listening skills mean you actually listen. You don't spend time when someone is talking to you thinking of what you're going to reply. All right? You can't truly listen if you're doing that. I know I've had a lot of conversations with people that I wish they would just get to the point, because I've already got in my mind what I want to say and I've stopped listening. It's not going to work. You have to listen to the person that you're interviewing. You have to listen to the person's answers, their questions. All right? So you can't truly listen if you're trying to think of your next question or your reply to what the person is going to say. Speaking skills, but there's also nonverbal skills, your body language, facial expressions. There is no eye rolling at the client in in the law office as much as you want to, because you're going to hear some things. All right. But you can't. And you got to sit up straight. You got to make eye contact. If you're taking notes, that's fine. But you need to look up and make contact every now and then. All right. Reading skills on page 12. All right. You're going to be learning a whole new vocabulary, mostly Latin, legal terminology, Latin phrases, mens rea, guilty mind, actus reus, criminal act, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware, respondeat superior, let the master answer, res ipsa loquitur, the thing speaks for itself. So you're going to learn a lot of new words and how to spell them. So when you come across a phrase or word you don't understand, look it up. All right. When I was in law school, we had to buy Black's Law Dictionary because we didn't have computers. We still had the card catalog in the library. But now you can get anything online. All right. So you just look up the word, stop, look it up, and then you'll remember it. Writing skills. Paralegals draft letters, memorandums, wills, deeds, complaints, interrogatories, questions to be asked at depositions, things like that. So my goodness, you've got to proofread it. You've got to proofread it and even give it to someone else to read it. All right? Nobody outside your law office, though, because it's confidential. Computer skills. Everybody's probably pretty good at computers, much more than I am. But there's all kinds of software programs now for attorneys. All right. Hopefully one day you'll get back to the school and we'll meet in room 306 in our computer lab and you'll learn how to do SoftPro for real estate closings, Best Case for bankruptcy. Westlaw is huge. That's a huge thing to have on your resume that you can work with and understand Westlaw. QuickBooks, all kinds of software programs. All right. Organizational skills and good speaking skills. Being on time. If you are on time, you are late. Never, never get there after it started. It can be dismissed out of court. You can miss something huge. So if you're on time, you're late. Always make time to be there early, especially if you're going to a job interview. Oh my gosh. So, all right. Confidentiality, we're going to get into confidentiality. Back in organizational skills, though. Time management. Hand your papers in on time. Is that so hard? Last semester, I had someone who stopped doing things in, I don't know, September, okay? And then in December, the last week, I left the modules open by accident, started handing in stuff. Well, she would be fired or he would be fired from the job. So no, not going to grade anything that you have not submitted on time. There are extenuating circumstances. I totally get that. So if you do have problems, let me know. But you can't tell me December 12th last semester, whenever this in May, this will end in May 1st, that, oh, I've got all my stuff here. I just never submitted it. I'm sorry. Can't do it. All right. Confidentiality. Chapter 4 is going to get into ethics, and so we'll talk about that later. But confidentiality means that, just like the old saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in the law office stays in the law office. All right. Confidentiality is huge, and if you breach that, your attorney can be reprimanded. He can be disbarred. All kinds of things. And if you're in the Paralegal Association by then, you can be kicked out and you're going to have trouble finding a job. So never, ever violate a client confidentiality, except you'll see in law there's always exceptions to the rules. And you'll see that when we get to ethics in Chapter 4. And then when you take LEX 280, you'll also learn more about that. Okay, professionalism. Page 15. You can't have any personal biases. You have to be honest. You have to dress professionally. You have to have good attitude, detail-oriented, and able to work under time constraints. Oh my gosh, that's huge. all right? Because the court's not going to wait. I do want to say, sorry, those are my notes. That might be the last page. Yeah, it is. I was in a law firm in Chesterfield, Missouri forever, and there were 7 men, and I was the token female. So I didn't want to mainly practice in family law and divorces, but that's what I ended up doing because none of the guys wanted to do the divorces. So I had a lot of crazy cases. I think 1 year I divorced everybody at one of the local, I'm not going to say, I'm going to make it up, ABC store. Nope, we don't have ABC stores there, and that's something different when I got here. So the 123 Corporation, all right? Apparently everybody was having an affair with everybody else, and I divorced almost everybody in that workplace. So I didn't divorce them. I handled their divorces. But so that's what I did for 1986 to 2003, mainly divorces. But I was also a prosecutor. That was fun, and I was also a criminal defense attorney. But I did other things too, some wills and things like that. But that was my main thing. So what I'm saying is, I could roll my eyes with almost every story that came in for a divorce. All right, you can't do that. You just have to sympathize with them. You don't tell them your experiences. If you're divorced, they don't want to hear about your divorce. They're actually paying you to listen to them so that you don't give back any stories. But professionalism, all right? It's acting like it's your mom or your dad interviewing, and be very, very good if you like your mom and dad and respect them. All right, so that is chapter 1. I think it's still recording. And then you have 2 assignments, and we'll get on to chapter 2, and where we're going to be drafting resumes and cover letters and learning how to search for a job. So that's all I have to say. I wish I could say any questions, but this is recorded, so I can't. But I hope you enjoy this semester, as crazy as it's going to be. And best wishes. Keep in touch. Communication is key in online classes. And that's it. Have a good day. Thank you.